is just going to make him a machine. And, I mean, I think this is a Colts team that's contending for the championship, and so much of it is based on luck. I mean, Andrew Luck, that is.
Right.
Yeah, and plus, I could also add that I love what the Colts did in this draft. They also got LaRaven Clark out of Texas Tech in the 3rd round. Now, he's a right tackle. And here's another guy who really had nice numbers going into the draft, really had nice, highlight reels and whatnot, and just kind of fell into the Colts' laps in the 3rd round. So, yeah, I think Luck could be scary this season. I think, take a look at who emerges out of camp as the 2 and 3 receivers on this team. They might be worth a look as well.
Well, right, and like you said, going to the Dolphins, look what Ryan Kelly and an improved offensive line might do for a T.Y. Hilton.
Oh, yeah.
Might do for, I think Dante Moncrief. They've got weapons over there. Mm-hmm. And if that's all Andrew Luck was lacking last year. He didn't have any protection. If he's got protection, I think he's going to be picking teams apart. So, those receivers could go high. They could go a lot higher in value, but still be able to get them in lower rounds. Mm-hmm. And Andrew Luck is probably still a top 10 pick, but I think you're right. I think some of these offensive linemen could really impact your fantasy team.
Yeah. Well, at least these 2 in particular really
mm-hmm.
stood out to me as just. I mean, these guys are game changers for their respective teams, and in the fantasy sphere as well. I mean, there's going to be some numbers here, especially Tannehill is going to see a nice jump, I think, from last year. I mean, just last year he was, ho-hum at best, but I think we're going to see a nice jump this year. We're going to see a big jump. And speaking completely outside of the fantasy realm, those mm-hmm. Colts-Jaguars games next season are going to be interesting. The way that the Jags loaded up on defense and just last year, the way that their offense was humming those last 5 or 6 games, mm-hmm. those are going to be some great games. I can't believe how good the AFC South is going to be.
I know. All of a sudden, Tennessee looks interesting.
Yeah.
Colts will be interesting. Jacksonville's really interesting.
Yeah. And Houston is now again they're looking like a more viable Super Bowl contender again, like they were a year or 2 ago. I mean,
as long as their quarterback situation's good.
Yeah,
they could be definitely a class, and you never know what happens.
Yeah, let's try this guy quarterback this season. All right, but yeah, that AFC South is going to be that's going to be both this year and the next 2-3 years. It's going to be wow. We're making jokes about it last year, but it won't be that way in a few years.
I agree with you. Well, we're just about out of time here. We definitely want to continue to cover these types of subjects where we break down players that we believe will impact your fantasy team no matter what type of a league you play. And we want to cover. We're not going to forget about daily fantasy leagues. We're not going to forget about dynasty leagues. We'll always do non-PPR, PPR, the whole 9 yards. And so we'll be looking for lots of feedback and questions from our listeners. So be sure to check out the Grueling Truth website at gruelingtruth.net. Also look us up on Facebook. We're on Stitcher. We're on Spreaker, iTunes, Google Play, pretty much anywhere where you can get podcasts. Tomorrow, I know we're having Kenny Anderson on our NFL Legends show, former Cincinnati Bengals quarterback. We got a Boxing Weekly show coming up, and we're going to be doing a 49ers show next week, hopefully with one of the draft picks. Myself and Dexter Carter will be looking to discuss with one of the new draft picks for the 49ers, John Theus, offensive lineman. So we got a lot more players coming up on the NFL Legends show in the coming weeks, so be sure to listen to that. So, got any final words, Ops?
I love the NFL Legends show. Does that count? Nothing else to add. Thanks for having me on. I'm really looking forward to going forth with fantasy football tips, knowledge, fun, anything else. It's great to have somebody to talk to about fantasy ball.
Oh yeah, we're gonna have a great time. Definitely looking forward to hearing of people's even their draft day horror stories and just things that there's lots of fantasy football horror stories out there. So we're hoping to get lots of amazing, funny, and just unbelievable stories that we'll share the best 2 or 3 each week on the show. We'll be looking to go pretty much weekly in July. So we'll be up till then. Maybe we'll do one more between now and then come July, we're going to be hitting the fantasy football airwaves pretty hard.
Sounds great to me. I can't wait.
Absolutely. So, for us, Davis, I'm Andruscavage. You've been listening to The Truth About Fantasy Football on the Grueling Truth Radio Network, where the legends speak.